Hello and welcome to Gamer Chat Weekly for your latest gaming news, topics, and special guests. Now featured on iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and GamerChatWeekly.com. Hey everybody, it's Cameron with Gamer Chat Weekly, episode 166, and today I have a wonderful guest with me, Ben Green from TRU Gaming. Hi Ben.
What's going on, everybody? How's it going?
Should I call you Ben or Green like this entire time? I always on this podcast, I always go back and forth between screen names and actual user name names.
Well, see, that's why I have an advantage because mine's technically both. My name is Green.
This is
my
true.
last name is Green. So either way, you're doing it right.
Perfect. That's kind of it's almost like football too. Like when I did football stuff, you see someone out and about though, and you're like, oh hey, and then you say their last name because you're used to sports, and
right.
Everyone just goes by their last name. I'll just call you Green. It's easier that way.
Cool.
So TRU Gaming, located in wonderful North Carolina. I wish I was there right now. Palm trees and sun, and not nearly as cold as balmy Ohio.
It's hot today.
Can you give us a quick rundown of what TRU Gaming is and how it kind of got its history, I guess, and what they do, what you guys do?
Yeah, sure. So, a couple years back, TRU Gaming got founded by our CEO and COO, who are Sue and Equation and Operations. They were in a community together just called TRU Gaming. TRU Gaming was first and foremost, and still continues to be, a gaming community online. But this was specifically an Arma 3 community for a clan type of thing. And because of that, they used to rent a lot of servers for Arma in particular and other games like that. But they were very, I guess I came on kind of later in the process, but from my understanding, they had some bad experiences with those servers that they tried to get from other companies. So they just decided to start their own. And so TRU Gaming became an actual company in 2016 now. Officially, we launched in 2016, late spring, early summer. And we launched our own server hosting division for games like Ark and Rust and Minecraft. So you can rent servers from us for games specifically on PC. And we have some pretty good prices, things like that. But then to coincide with that, we launched Discord at the same time because that was really when Discord kind of came to the forefront as a new platform. So we started on Discord just sort of as a let's see what happens kind of thing, and it just exploded out of nowhere. Really that year, it was throughout December, I guess the second half of 2016, our Discord just ramped up and up and up, and now we're at I think 2,000 some members. Yeah,
I saw we just hit over 2,000 a couple days ago.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then we have hundreds online at any given time. I think, and it changes a lot, but last I looked, it was about 400 to 500 online. And it just really become this cool community of a place where people can come, just talk about anything gaming at all, but especially streaming. We've really kind of become this place where we help others learn how to stream, specifically new people. And again, to coincide with that, we started a sponsored streamer program to launch with our server hosting division, and then it sort of is morphed into this streamer development program. So you can be sponsored by us as a sponsored streamer on Twitch or Mixer or YouTube, although the majority of our streamers are on Twitch. And we will support you with things like podcasts, interviews, shirts, gear. Occasionally bring people out to conferences like this last one, which I think we're going to talk about a bit later.
Yep.
And yeah, just our whole goal with that program is to develop streamers into basically people that we see being partnered on Twitch or the equivalent of that on other platforms down the road.
Nice. We're going to actually come back to sponsor streamers in just a second. Going to get a little bit more in depth with that. That was a nice overview. But I did want to ask, what is your specific role at TRU? I know you're a community manager, but what does that mean? Because there's so many people out there, on Twitter and social media and stuff like that, that look at community managers and go, okay, what do they do? And how did this role become a thing? Because it's right. I mean, I would like to say it's relatively new for a lot of companies because social media has been taking off and stuff. So can you explain what you do?
Yeah, for sure. So my official title is not actually community manager. That sort of got tacked on. My real role is media and marketing director for TRU Gaming. So I run all the social media, the advertising, and really everything else in between. We have a very small staff here. So first and foremost, I'm supposed to be the one who sells the stuff that we make. But then because of how the company is developed, we launched our Discord, we started on Twitch. I sort of became the official community manager for the community.
The man of many hats.
Yes, very. So I do, I do manage the Discord server. We have someone on staff now to stream most days of the week, but I still kind of oversee our Twitch channel, and really just kind of, if I could put my job into a word as community manager, it's just talking to people. Really is the best way to put it. I'm sort of like the head of, if people want to talk to TRU Gaming, they talk to me because I'm sort of the voice of TRU Gaming is the best way to put it. So, yeah.
And so if people have questions, they basically come to you first. That's interesting. Like that's gotta be fun / annoying, I guess, at the same time, because there's so many people in the community.
Yeah.
Do you have like you do so many things in the company? Like, do you have like a schedule, like in a week or in a day of like, okay, first I'm gonna take care of these promo graphics or something for Facebook and for social first, and then I'll take care of like 2 hours of emails and answering questions. Yeah. Do you have like a schedule or anything throughout your day, or? Yeah,
so I have a like a weekly. Basically, I have this whiteboard on my wall that I'll lay out each day of the week in terms of what I have to do, because I'm doing so many different things. Like, for example, this week I have to put out a podcast. I put out the video version of it. I have to do the audio version still, and a blog post that one of our streamers wrote. I got to put that up on our website, and so I kind of tend to focus on, you really have to prioritize what matters, because I could sit here and do stuff all day and get caught up in just chatting in our Discord server, but I have to really focus on the stuff that's really going to give us long-term results and just growth as a community. So things on my list, for example, responding to emails, like you said, I probably did a couple hours of that today, specifically with sponsored streamer contracts, because that whole process just wrapped up, and it's a lot of documents and signing and things like that. I have no lie, probably about 50 DMs in my inbox in Discord right now that I need to go through and give each person a tailored response, because as part of our sponsorship program, I try to give people feedback if they got denied in terms of what they can improve, although I'm realizing that that's probably getting to the point where I can't really do that anymore, because that gets taxing. Yeah, like some of these people I've had a DM in my inbox for weeks now, and I just haven't had the chance to get to it. So that's going to take some thinking. But point being, there's a lot of small tasks, but I tend to focus on content creation as a big piece of the company, specifically videos, blog posts, podcasts, articles, what else? Of course, marketing, so things like Facebook and Google ads and search engine optimization for the website, stuff like that. So, speaking of social media, social's huge for marketing and all that, and it's kind of like your, where you really thrive. That's where you kind of, started in. That's where your main role comes into place, is social media and marketing, right? This is kind of off topic, but I literally just saw this like 20 minutes before our meeting for this podcast, and it's a new social platform called Vero. Have you heard of that? Vero? I have not. It's like literally 2 days old, but it takes like Instagram's mobile-only formula, and it puts together like tailored content for what you want to see. So you can go through and see like what TV shows people are watching. You can search by like what books people are reading, and like you can do all this different stuff. When you go to share, you can share with friends, close friends, acquaintances. Like there's all these different options for sharing and stuff like that. I just got into it today. It's a pretty cool social platform because of like the way I can like search for things. So I can just go like search like the movies section, and it's just people posting about different shows and movies that came out, or like books that people are reading, things like that, with like recommendations and stuff. It's really interesting. But the weird part about it is the first 1 million users get it for free for life, and then after that it's like a pay-for service where you don't get like ads and stuff like that, or there's a free version. So that may be something to look into. I don't know. Just question mark. Just interesting. So figure out bring it up. Yeah, I don't want to get too into it just to get off topic. I'm definitely curious about it. It sounds like it's is it just another social media platform, or is it more like an aggregator? Just a platform. It just looks like Instagram. You can comment, you can like, make posts. I don't think there's any filters or anything yet on the camera, but I haven't checked that out. Just figured I'd bring it up, see if you saw it. That's all. I have not. That's really interesting. I guess after the first, what you said, 100,000 people? First 1 million people, there'll be a paid service. Interesting. Yep. So figured to get on the ground floor. Figured I'd bring it up so anyone that's listening can get on the ground floor as well, and you can. I'll talk about this stuff later. Anyway, it literally just came up like right before like
I got into this podcast with you, and I was like, oh, this is a really cool looking service, and it looks nice, but it's mobile only. So they have a website, but it kind of like goes through what they do and how they do it. So moving on. Anyway, sponsor streamers. Let's go back to this really quick. So I want to ask a couple questions about sponsor streamers because I'm pretty sure there's people out there that want to know exactly what sponsorship means, how you get in, when things open, when they close. So want to get into that a little bit. So first question is, what exactly do you guys look for in a sponsor streamer?
So again, we've kind of redesigned this program over the years, but I'd say if you could just put it in one sentence, the biggest thing we look for is we try to sponsor people that we eventually see being partnered on Twitch, and that can come in a lot of different ways. I have some guidelines on our website for like more detailed things. I like to say that people should be consistent as streamers. They should be somewhat polished in terms of brand. They should be kind of professional, and have clearly put some effort into their stream. And I'm blanking on the third one. Basically just passion, I think. You have to have some sort of visible energy and love for the stream, whether or not you're actually using a camera or whatever. But point being, we just try and focus on streamers that we think are taking it seriously and have potential to really take it full time in the future. And this is an interesting time for you to talk about this, because we actually just this past weekend had a discussion with some of our sponsored streamers to talk about how to redesign the program a bit. So nothing's final on that yet, but we're going to probably making some changes for the next round in terms of maybe some sort of tiers for sponsorship. So
that's cool.
We'll see about that. Yeah.
And roughly when you have, I'm just going to call it open season, because it's usually every season has like an open round of sponsorships. People can apply. How many applications do you usually get?
Oh man, I mean,
I know you get buried.
Yeah, no, I mean it's surprisingly variable. Really dependent on how much we're putting into it in terms of paid advertising. But this last round, we got I think just under 600 applications, so probably 580 or so. We've gone as high as I think 800 and more consistently somewhere around 200 to 300. So this was a pretty big round for us. But yeah, I mean it's always about that. And then we only accept this round. We took 16 of 580 people, so it's a pretty small amount. We don't really set a number for how many we accept. It's more of just how many we see fit the position. But we do try and keep it a low number so that sponsorship is still a kind of exclusive thing and not just open to everybody.
Now, do you find let's actually continue the application process part. Roughly, when you're going through all the applications, I know there's a couple people that do help you go through them. You kind of like split the stacks and stuff like that and kind of go through. Is there a way you could possibly put like a percentage on people that just don't seem to take it seriously, like just put joke answers? I know it's a fun thing in the Discord to kind of go through some of those, but it always baffles me that there are so many people that like apply, but they don't take it seriously and they just put down either joke answers or just don't fill things out properly. One of the biggest things that always irks me is when people fill out things for things that I do, is they don't fill out all the forms. It's like one of those things where your teacher back in high school said you'll pass as long as you follow the instructions, and the only instruction is put your name at the top, and people forget to do that. Roughly how many people actually forget to fill things in or just don't take it seriously?
So we added some baseline requirements for the sponsored process because we were just getting overloaded with applications. So now to apply, to be accepted, you at least, as a minimum, have to be, if you're a Twitch streamer, you have to be an affiliate, or basically eligible to be an affiliate. Number 2, you have to have at least 100 followers. And number 3, you have to be willing to be part of our Discord server, because we really like to have our streamers involved in our community. And I believe it's the 100 followers question. You can still technically apply without having that number, just because it's just a Google form and I can't really get it via Twitch API or anything. Maybe in the future we can. But point being, about 30% of all applicants get just knocked out straight away from that question. They just don't have 100 followers. So those just get thrown out, unfortunately. If we had more time, we'd consider those people, but we just don't. And then I would guess after that initial 30% that's out, there's probably another 20% or so that probably don't really fill out the application very well, or like you said, have some sort of joke response. We actually do get some people who you can tell are just kind of trolling with the application. Like they'll get halfway through and just say like nah to a question or something, or never mind, something like that. Yeah. So I don't even know why they bother submitting the application at that point, but I mean, it gives me a good laugh. So yeah, it's probably about roughly half or so that really, I mean, they're not really being considered for sponsorship. And then after that, it gets more selective.
Awesome. I actually never knew that there was that many people that just kind of
yeah,
right out the
unfortunately.
That's crazy.
That's wild.
So moving on, so we covered sponsored streamers and kind of how to get in. Now let's cover what you do as a sponsored streamer. There's a lot of different roles, I'd say, as a sponsored streamer. Being part of the Discord for a very long time, I've noticed that sponsored streamers have more like a moderation role as well as, you know, being sponsored and helping out the community and putting things together. So what exactly, when you're sponsored, you know, what are kind of like the requirements once you're a sponsor that you have to kind of like, you know, be held to and,
right.
you know.
Yeah, for sure. So generally, you know, we sort of tailor it to each streamer based on what social media that they prefer or what size their channel is, what avenues they use. But generally, we kind of look at a few areas that we have requirements for. One is social media posting. Generally, it'll be something like, you know, tweet about us twice a week. Doesn't have to be a straight link to our Twitter or our website. It can be like, hey, check out this community member of TRU Gaming, or, you know, check out this TRU Gaming shirt. And then, you know, once a week on Instagram or something not too invasive, but just a weekly schedule of, you know, you're posting about us every so often and we can see that. And then on the stream side of things, we just require that you have our panel underneath your stream, which is pretty standard for most sponsorships. And then we ask that people feature our logo on their screen, either like on a rotation with other things every couple minutes, or they can just verbally shout us out every hour or so if, you know, there's some people that just stream from console, so they can't really put logos on their screen. So in that case, we just give them the option to just shout us out, but the majority of people just choose to run a logo on their stream in some way, which is totally fine. And that's most of the requirements. Again, we kind of asked people, you know, recently we made some adjustments because we saw some people would be sponsored and then they would kind of go AFK or just not really do much for us. So we've kind of asked sponsors to now be involved in our Discord server a bit more. There's not really, you know, we can't say like, you must send 5 messages every 2 days in our server to stay sponsored. Point being, we just want to see the people, you know, want to be in the server, want to be talking to people, are talking somewhere in Discord. And then also we try to ask people not to go more than 2 weeks without streaming because, I mean, as a sponsored streamer, you should probably be streaming since that's your title. So we've had a few people who will just kind of go away for a month or not and not tell us anything. I mean, it's one thing if you have to go away for a legitimate absence, like we have some military people who just have to go on leave and that's totally fine. Or like a medical type of thing, we totally get that. But we have had a few people in the past who will just go AWOL on us for no reason and not respond to anything. So we have to add that clause just in case someone decides to disappear into thin air.
No, that makes sense. Requirements are basically just, you know, be part of the community, be a pillar of the community, hang out, and just don't leave without saying anything. And then, like, one more thing on sponsored streamers, because you did mention that you do sponsor, you know, YouTube and stuff like that as well, because I have seen a couple people actually get sponsored via YouTube. How does that work with the application, and how would something say like Mixer, you know, fall in line as well if the requirements are slightly different per platform?
Sure. I mean, so the requirements are pretty similar in terms of Mixer and Twitch. It would still be the same thing. We've actually offered sponsorship to a number of Mixer streamers, but they've never accepted for whatever reason. Either they kind of just, again, go missing as a streamer altogether, or I guess they just decided it's not a great fit for them, which is totally fine. They have the option to accept or not once they're offered it. But the requirements will be the same thing if you are a Mixer streamer. Just, you know, show our logo on your screen every so often. And I'm not actually sure off the top of my head. Can you add images as panels in Mixer? I'm sure you can.
Yep.
Yeah. So
they don't really have panels per se on Mixer. It's more or less like you just have like a giant HTML body underneath your screen that's meant for like a bio. Okay. But you can like put linked images and stuff down there. A lot of people actually just put like like more detailed images. Like it'll be an image with text and stuff on it to kind of go through some of the stuff, and then they break those out to stuff. I use my same Twitch panels. I just have basically the image on the left, the text on the right, rather than text underneath.
Yeah, so it'd be the exact same thing. When we do get that mixer streamer, we just ask them to put that under the stream. And then in terms of YouTube, it's a little bit different, but pretty similar. You have the option as YouTube creator to, we have our fancy little like 3 to 5 second video roll, which you could run before or after your video. You also have the option of verbally shouting us out if you want to, or you could show our logo on the video at some point. And again, we try to keep it pretty flexible for our content creators, because we don't want to feel like you're just locked into being an ad machine. And I don't necessarily think that's a great idea to just enforce a video pre-roll before all your videos, because as someone who watches a lot of YouTube, that would kind of turn me off of videos. So we try and give that freedom to the content creators, and then it would just be like a link to our website in the video description, which again is pretty standard. So
awesome. Now, with the sponsored streamer, you also have some extra perks, and one of those is being able to attend conventions with you guys if you guys pick certain people to go. I know at ECGC last year you picked a couple people. You guys just recently went to Playthrough. So let's talk about Playthrough for a little bit. What exactly is Playthrough, and what you guys do there?
Yeah, so Playthrough Gaming Convention was a conference here in Raleigh over this past weekend on Saturday and Sunday, and it's sort of just a general gaming convention in terms of I compare it to ECGC, which is in the same location in April this year. That's a more professional conference with some bigger names like Insomniac and Epic Games, and lots of like discussion panels and career building opportunities. This is more of your standard convention in terms of just like a fun convention. There's a ton of tabletop gaming and arcade gaming and tournaments and people just hanging out and playing games, and lots of vendors just showing crafty things and shirts and all that. So this conference, it was really fun to go to for us because we had live streaming at our booth, and I think it kind of worked better for us than ECGC because, again, this was more of a just fun convention and lots of crazy stuff going on. So we kind of stood out more as, people will just come out to the screens and watching our stream, which we were doing live there. And we had a lot of people just come into the booth and do things with us, and even had like crowds cheering about stuff going on the screen at one point. So it was a different atmosphere than our previous conventions, but really liked it. And I think we're thinking about going back next year again.
Awesome. Yeah, it looks like you guys had a lot of fun. I know I actually got to meet you guys at ECGC, and that was a blast. Kind of upset I couldn't make the playthrough. It looked like a lot of fun though, and you guys had a beautiful looking booth and a much better space, I think, this time than last ECGC, in my opinion.
This one was nice because well, for one, we had like different area. When we were at ECGC, we really could only come to the booth from the front because we were sort of like up against the wall. This one, we were sort of more in the middle of the floor, and so people could come at us from different angles and talk to different people, and also just see more of the booth than we had to offer. So it worked out a little better.
Better traffic flow.
Yeah, for sure.
So speaking of conventions, any plans to go to like anything bigger like PAX? Or I know you guys went to TwitchCon as kind of a group, not like a booth or anything, but just kind of went, as a team to go check it out.
Right.
Any upcoming conventions you guys are looking to go to, whether it's a booth or just for fun?
Yeah. So we considered PAX. We decided not to go to PAX this year just because it's a lot of logistics for us to get our streaming booth set up to somewhere else in terms of how we get it shipped there, where we store it, temperature conditions and driving fees and all sorts of stuff like that. So I mean, it's really easy for us to do stuff here in Raleigh, which is why we did Playthrough and why we're planning on doing ECGC again this year. There's also a con called SuperCon, which is supposedly the biggest conference here in Raleigh, and that's in July. Just heard about that. We were maybe considering that. It's, again, supposed to be the biggest conference, so thinking about that one. And then TwitchCon, like last year, we're probably going to do something there. We've got a little while till then, so I'm not exactly sure what it'll look like in terms of maybe having a booth there, or maybe like last year doing more of like an attendee and networking thing. But if I had to guess, we're looking at doing a booth at TwitchCon this year and some local conferences here like ECGC and SuperCon in the meantime.
Awesome. And what decision making process do you go through to like figure out like who all kind of comes with you as far as sponsors and stuff goes? Is it who's kind of local to the area, who's available to go?
Yeah, it's a couple things. So playthrough was kind of different because I was telling Play before we started the show, we have some stuff we're working on for later this year, which is pretty big. And we brought the 4 streamers that we brought to playthrough for the reason of helping us with that stuff. So they haven't disclosed any of it. They decide NDAs and everything. Yeah, it's very secret. But point being, they weren't chosen in the traditional way as much. Usually we'll choose people for conferences. We call them true ambassadors, based on how involved they are in the community, what they're kind of offering to TRU, what kind of special talents they have. Like, for example, I think if we had gone to playthrough in a more normal setting, it's a very tabletop oriented convention. There's a lot of tabletop gaming, and Rob of All Games is one of our streamers who's really into tabletop gaming. So that would make more sense to me in the future. But we also, we'll consider local things. In the case of playthrough, we brought out some of our local streamers who weren't necessarily ambassadors, but were hanging out in the area. So they came to the conference. But really, it's more of, we'll bring people from Canada or from the UK or whatever, just as long as we think that they have something special to offer or they've really put effort into TRU, and then we want to give something back to them.
That's awesome. Not many companies that sponsor or affiliate others go that far for, their people that work for them, essentially, like under, whether it be a sponsorship or an affiliation. So that's something you guys have going for you that's completely unique, I would say. Like, you have your big companies that, take like their prize streamers places, like Razor and Tim the Tapman and like things like that. Like, they have like their people.
Right.
But you guys bring different people based on, what you guys are trying to do and where the location and stuff is. That's really awesome. Like, that's sweet.
Yeah. For sure. No, I think it's a really cool opportunity. And I'm glad that, our CEO that's something that he values a lot, is really just building up the community and everything. So I'm glad that he thinks that's a great idea, because I do too. And we really just, like I said, we're all about building up streamers into just the potential that they have. And that's one of the things I love about this program, is because when you bring people like who we brought to conventions, you can really see them kind of start to blossom into more serious streamers. And we definitely have seen a lot of the sponsored streamers over the years just get more and more professional and serious about their stream. And now, rather than just offering a bunch of money and saying like, hey, promote our brand, we've actually taken people and kind of grown them from the ground up, so that, we don't have to tell people to represent TRU. They just want to do it automatically, which is really how the whole community spread altogether. It was just, we never have any expectations of people, really. We don't enforce anything. We're all about getting people to naturally and organically just love the community and want to talk about it themselves. So
that's how it's done. That's it right there. Now, you guys do a couple other things besides streaming and besides going to conventions. You guys also run like a podcast and a talk show. Can you talk about those a bit?
Yeah, so we actually have a couple. I'm in charge of one, which is sort of my pet project. Stream. It is, it really is. Stream Key podcast we do it every week, and the goal is to teach other people how to get more better, to get more comfortable with streaming, whether that's audio expertise or branding or identity, or this past weekend we talked about what kind of setups you should have or think about, as well as how to keep up energy as a streamer. So the whole point is we interview a different streamer each week on the show and then learn lessons from them on their area of expertise. So Veloc is our resident super energetic streamer. So he was talking about ways to just pump yourself up on stream. And then at the end of the show, we take viewer Q&A, which is always really cool to get actual tailored feedback for people. And then we have 3 other podcasts. We have True Talk, which White Shadow and Pims run. That's a really fun show, sort of a more simple thing, although I think they're taking it more into streaming news soon. To be determined on that, we'll see. Borderline Entertainment just started this weekend. That's with Dan the Dapper and Veloc. And that is just your typical gaming talk show, just a couple of memers having a fun time.
Memes.
Really fun to listen to. I think it's going to do really well as it goes forward. So I'm excited to see about that. And then one still coming is called True Tech, and that's with White Shadow and Shady Pyro, and it's all about specifically technology. I think that will also be sort of catered towards streamers in particular, just to give it more of a niche market. But that's sort of our podcast network that has evolved over the past year or so.
is there anything you guys don't do?
Well, yeah. I mean, we don't sell puppies. I wish we sold puppies.
Oh, dude, TRU puppies, best puppies.
That would give me a lot more Instagram content. I'll tell you what.
Oh, dogs flourish on Instagram. Cats more on Twitter, dogs on Instagram for sure.
I never heard that before, but I could maybe see that. I don't know.
Maybe you should run some analytics on that and see what does better on what platform. Because I'm pretty sure that like the platforms vary, and I think dogs do better on Instagram than they do on Twitter.
I'd be interested to see that study and maybe write a blog article on it.
All right, well, I think that's about all the questions I have for you. I think we covered pretty much everything true and what you guys do and sponsors and stuff. Is there anything that you'd like to say, anything new coming out that you guys are doing? I know you have some stuff under NDA we can't discuss. I don't want to poke that bear, but if there's anything I left out and you want to bring it up, that would be a good time to do that.
Sure, yeah. So in terms of new stuff, we should hopefully have some new merchandise going up soon.
Merch!
We have a new little TRU logo that we designed with... I designed it with Malicious Mel, who's sort of one of the artists in our communities. It's a really cool little 3-arrow logo, and we have a zip-up hoodie now, finally, after like years of demand. Black zip-up hoodie. We also have a blue and a black t-shirt, which have that new logo on there. So hopefully people will find that interesting, and that should go up hopefully soon. I mean, we just got back from the conference, so it's been kind of crazy week here, but that's coming soon. Like I said, we have a huge thing coming later this year. I can't talk about it, but I would guess that that's coming around April, sometime between April and July. We'll see. It's kind of a big time frame, but really excited about that. And
better time frame than Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yeah, for sure. At least they're pushing it back for a good reason, though. I hope.
I mean, I never mind pushbacks. If you push things back, it means you're trying to fix some things that were wrong with it, and that to me is okay. So.
Exactly, for sure. But yeah, I mean, if you've never heard of TRU Gaming before, just join our Discord. That's the best thing to do, which is just discord.gg/TRU Gaming, and you can find everything else I talked about there. It's sort of our central hub. So,
all right. Want to give a quick shout out to all your social channels where people can find you. And by the way, all of these that he's about to say will be down in the description down below, including the Discord and a link to their merch shop and their website.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Yeah, so our website's just trugaming.com. Very simple. So if you find us on... Again, Discord or Twitch, we're just TRU Gaming. You can either go to twitch.tv/TRU Gaming or discord.gg/TRU Gaming. Facebook and Twitter, we are Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, we are TRU Gaming LLC because somebody stole our name, and I'm sad about that. But yeah, TRU Gaming LLC on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. I think, we have all these other social medias that I don't always use. TRU Gaming on Snapchat. I think Veloc uses that more than anybody. And... yeah, I think that's mostly it. We have Google Plus, but don't go there.
And mind you, it's TRU without the E at the end. It's TRU.
Yes, to be clear, for all you podcast peeps.
Yeah, for anyone listening to audio-wise that are about to go look this up, it's TRU Gaming. And anyone that's watching this or listening on their desktop, wherever, the links are all down below as well. So just click those. All right. Well, Green, it was a pleasure having you on the podcast. It was great talking to you guys about TRU and what you guys are doing and what's coming up in conventions and stuff. I really enjoyed having you on. So thank you for your time. I know you're a very busy guy and you have a lot of stuff to do now that you're back from playthrough. And so I just appreciate you being here.
Of course, man. Thank you for having me on, too. I mean, I always love coming on here. I think I was on here last year, once or so, maybe 2 years ago at this point.
It was a while ago. I think it was when I first joined TRU, 2 years-ish. 2016, end of it.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's a while ago.
Yeah, it was a long time.
I mean, yeah, I love coming on podcasts. Like I said, I have my own little passion podcast, so I love coming on others, and maybe we can get you on that podcast sometime. So.
Maybe. One day.
We'll see.
If you can catch me. All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening and tuning into Gamer Chat Weekly, episode 166. We'll be back next week with Ashley Christ, who is a stream consultant. So thank you guys for popping in, and make sure you check out the links down below. And any comments or questions, please put those in the comments, and we'll get to those as soon as possible. And if you want to bug Green, just Discord, just DM him. You probably won't see it, though. There's so many DMs. All right, guys. I will see you all next week. Bye-bye.
See you.
Thank you for tuning in to Gamer Chat Weekly. For current and past episodes, make sure to visit GamerChatWeekly.com. Stop by next week for more news and gamer shenanigans. See you then.